This is Big Girl Pants Podcast,
where we talk about women, health, power, and wealth.
hosted by
April Melton.
and Kimberly Shapiro.
We are real women with real jobs doing real life.
Join us while we showcase inspirational stories and inspirational people.
Come on, y'all. Put your big girl pants on and stay tuned. 5,
4,
3.
2. Forgot how to count. Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
I forgot how to count. I'm so good.
I'm good too.
Welcome back.
Yeah, right?
Welcome back from a 2-month hiatus.
It's been a while.
It's been a crazy 2 years. Let's just say that. Also, we just had our 3rd anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you too.
Love
This
it.
is so much fun.
I know.
So the last 2 episodes, I was not here.
Yes.
I was sick, actually.
I was going to say, were you sick? Yeah,
I couldn't
think you were
remember.
sick.
Something happened.
But you didn't have the vid. You were
I did
just
not
sick.
have the vid.
Yeah.
I have never had the vid outside of the one time before nobody knew what it was.
Heard.
But other than that, no. So
Knock on wood.
do
Knock on this
you
table.
have anything you'd like to share?
For everyone listening and watching.
Yeah.
Bam.
She's getting married.
Yeah, getting married. Actually, and we can tell our listeners this now. So,
Okay.
and I was waiting for the perfect time, and I think this is the right time.
I have hinted so many times.
Multiple times.
Can I
and
say
I'm like,
anything?
Shapiro.
Can I say anything?
Shapiro.
Can I say no? That was a no. Hard no.
So, hard no. So, okay. And I had to delete the episode, but when we had the episode about the custody battle and the stuff that I went through with Chloe's dad, Matt and I discussed whilst going through the custody battle, whilst if it would make sense and also help us in the custody battle if we were married.
And you believe that it did, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And Matt was like, this is not a romantic marriage.
Sure.
He was like, I love you. I love Chloe. I absolutely want to marry you one day. I do want this to happen.
Right.
This is, what is that word? Extenuating circumstances?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, let's go get married. So we got married on paper, and it did help immensely. And also it's helped in multiple different ways since then. However, with that being said, he never got to ask me to marry him. There was no proper proposal. There wasn't a ring. There was all these things. And I mean, with the money that I spent on an attorney, I could have had 2 rings by now. But
Seriously.
yeah, it's a lot of money. But right before we were getting ready to go to Florida, we were like packing up our car and doing all this stuff. And Matt was like, we loaded our car and we put all of our luggage and all that stuff in the back of the car. And he was like, hey babe, I think I left the garage light on. I was like, okay, I'll go turn it off, whatever. And so he gets Chloe and he's like, Chloe, hold this phone and I want you to record. I'm going to ask your mom to marry me.
Oh my gosh.
And she was like, okay. And
That's so great.
mind you, it's 4:00 in the morning. Like, and my 6-year-old is like, yeah, totally, I'll hold it. And then she puts the phone down. Literally puts the phone down. But she did get the audio.
Yeah.
There's just no video. But once I got back in the car, Matt was like, oh yeah, I forgot something else. And I was like, okay, what? And he's like, will you marry me? And I was like, oh, I'm like, babe, I've had like 4 hours of sleep. I look like crap. And he was like,
yes.
oh my God. So yeah, it was so cute and so perfect. And it was like the 3 of us.
Yay. And now you guys can actually celebrate.
Yes,
like
and
you
be
can,
public with
yes.
it and all of that. And I don't know if we're going to do like a wedding, if we're going to spend all that money and do a wedding. Honestly, I've been thinking about like how you and Brad got married.
I was going to say, can I tell you?
Yeah.
Don't.
Roasted a pig in the backyard.
Like, you do that stuff when your parents are paying.
And he made a great point. He was like, we've both done it before. And we both
Yeah.
had very large weddings.
Yeah. So see, I do you.
I know.
And everybody should.
Well, and you know the type of man that I'm married to. So let's be
Frugal.
realistic. Yes, very frugal, very conservative.
But also,
financially.
why do you need to wear the dress again? You
No.
already did it.
It's not even about the dress,
You know what I mean?
honestly. I just want to celebrate.
And you should.
Yeah. I just want to celebrate the fact that we're together and that
Yes.
we've made this decision and we're a family and we're
Well, Brad and I, as you know, and I'll tell everybody else, we've been married 22 years now.
Yeah.
And I guess we just had our anniversary. Anyway, we had both been married as well.
Right.
And so I did a luau at my parents' pool.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. We even roasted a pig.
Yeah.
We had lays
was like
for
a whole
everyone.
thing.
It was the whole thing. It was really, really fun.
Yeah.
No one was allowed to bring any gifts because we'd both had homes.
Love it.
And so the only thing you could bring was alcohol.
Yeah.
So we had that little...
So we got hammered.
Well, we actually didn't, but we had that liquor for a decade.
Damn,
We
that's
had
nice.
so much.
You're
People
like,
bringing...
babe, look at this bottle. We've had it for 10
Because
years.
people were bringing good stuff, right? Since they
that's
couldn't...
good.
Yeah. So they
Okay.
were bringing all the good stuff since they couldn't buy a wedding gift.
Okay, so I guess it's not really a
It's
secret
not like
anymore,
people-
but I wanted to have like a housewarming party and then be like,
Yeah.
surprise!
Oh, yeah.
And then like say our vows or something at the party.
That's really cool.
Something like that. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I didn't want anybody to feel like they had to dress up or
But
drive
you
somewhere
need a party.
or do whatever.
You need a party.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had a party. We
Well,
didn't
we're
have like...
party people for sure.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
we didn't have like a DJ or anything.
You and I are, but
We are faux
the men
show
are not.
I mean, Brad is once you give him a couple drinks.
That's true. I just need to get Matt drunk. You probably have a blast.
I think that's fun. You
be
definitely
like,
need a
"What's
celebration though, because it's memorable and it's
Yes.
something to celebrate.
Yes.
It's exciting.
But the reason why I want to do it at the housewarming party is because I wanted to do like I wanted a housewarming. I wanted it to be like very informal, very relaxed, very
Yeah.
fun, and then
Yeah.
be like surprise.
you could even have like a little arbor set up in the back with just like
Or something.
something simple,
Right.
something super, super simple.
Yeah.
And then just wear like a white sundress or something.
Literally.
And it would be really pretty.
Something cheap, not $1,600 like my last one.
Faux show.
No,
yeah.
that's not
Is that
worth
how much
it.
it was? Wow.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
I know. So pivot.
Pivot real quick. You can see my brain. She knows me so well. Wow. We really should be sisters.
Thank you. Next.
Yes. But that is exciting. I'm so exciting for you and I cannot
Oh,
wait.
I'm pumped too.
It is exciting. You had asked me earlier how my family's doing. Everybody's good. My husband broke his foot. He was running.
Way to go, husband.
Way to go, husband. Yeah.
Did he step into something or something, or did he just
I'm not
break
sure.
his foot?
He says he stepped off, or he said he stepped on a rock. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know if it was like, what are we talking about here? I don't know. All I know is the dude
Yeah.
was a mile from home,
Damn.
did not call anyone, walked home on a broken foot. And I'm like, you're dumb. Like, call someone.
You're
call,
like, listen, Rocky, what are we trying to prove here?
First
Like,
of
it's
all,
okay.
we live next to all of my family.
Yeah. He
Pick
could have called
one.
like 12 people.
You could even call my sister to pick you up on her scooter. Like, there are options. Uber. I don't know.
Way too stubborn for that, wife. Okay.
God.
I can't do that.
So now he's in a boot for
Right.
like 10 weeks.
Perfect.
Right.
Love it.
And the first 2 weeks, y'all, listen. I'm like, you broke your foot, not your entire body. So now the first week I did understand because it really was very painful and it looked awful. I mean,
Yeah.
his toes were black and blue, everything. Like the whole foot was just awful. So I get it. But then after, like 10 days or so, he's starting to heal and starting to get better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can do things for yourself now.
Yeah. And you're in a boot. Like,
You're in a boot.
you're able to walk. Even
Yeah.
if you're not able to walk, does he have one of those scooter things where you can put your knee
No,
on
we
it?
were going to buy one, but it was like $175. And
you're
we're
like,
like, what are
why?
we going to do with that?
Afterwards.
He could have bought one too.
All the kids my cousin has one because my aunt had a knee surgery and all the kids just scoot
Yeah.
around the pool with
Yeah.
it. I mean, it's like
So
a toy
true.
now. So we're in staffing and recruiting, but I don't know that people completely understand the
What that means?
Yeah, and to the extent.
Yeah.
Right? Like we a client that we work for the client, right? We don't work for the candidate. We work for both, but
well,
it's like
we do, but we don't. I like to say to people, our job is to find people for jobs, not jobs for people. And that's
a good analogy.
It's a misnomer out there in the
that.
marketplace because candidates will call and reference themselves as clients. And I get it. Like, I understand where they're coming from. But at the end of the day, it's like, but you are definitely our way of making money, but you don't cut the checks.
And it sounds really bad, but you're the product.
It does sound bad, but I've been a candidate before. Like, I've been placed by staffing firms before, and I'm not offended by that. So, and I knew my role in that. Like that. They were working for the organization.
Yes.
So to kind of explain how it all works for us or for those people who don't understand how the industry works, an organization will call our staffing firm and they will say, I am looking for a fill in the blank. Let's just
controller.
Let's say controller for ease. Right. So then our job at that point is to go and identify a resource. Now they will give us parameters, right? Just like when you go online to Indeed or whatever, LinkedIn, and you're applying for a job, and you see a job description and there's the litany of things that they want and all the boxes they want you to check. Much like that, they give us the same parameters and say, go find this absolutely perfect human. And
Rainbow, purple,
don't send me
squirrel,
anybody
unicorn.
who doesn't check all my boxes. So then it's our job to then say, well, I would love to do that if they existed on the planet, but they don't. So what I'm going to need from you is your your 3 things you absolutely must have. And then it's our job to go and identify an individual who checks those boxes. Once we identify a resource, a candidate, a person, it is then our job to kind of shift gears and mold that individual, help them interview properly, look at their resume and make sure it represents them well, help them identify ROIs, like, is that what I'm saying? Return on investment, just things they've done to make an impact in an organization. So we help them identify those things to position them to sell themselves better in an interview. So we don't just find a resume, have a quick phone call with somebody, and then send them. And I'll tell you, there are staffing firms out there that do that. And 100%. If you are partnering with a firm that does that, speaking to the clients now because you're looking for a low rate,
good luck.
Yeah. I mean, it is really frustrating to me. And I've been on the hiring side or the client side where I was paying the fee to get someone to help me identify a resource. Yeah. If you're paying, it's no different than buying what's the cheapest car you could possibly buy right now?
Probably like a Kia.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. It's like the Kia, the cheapest little Kia that you could possibly buy versus like a Land Rover.
Yes.
For lack of a better,
or a Cadillac,
or whatever,
or a Porsche.
It really and truly is exactly the same thing.
Yes.
Because one service is going to literally find resumes, maybe have a phone call with somebody,
maybe,
and then shove them your way, right? That's their service that they're providing. We do not do that. Neither one of our firms do that. In fact,
I was going to say, we don't work for the same place.
We don't. And I'll say no firm that I've worked for does that. Like, I feel lucky that I've worked for solid firms in the past that valued both sides of the business.
Yes.
And so,
and the more work that you do on your side as the company, as the representative, the firm, right? The staffing firm.
Right.
The higher your chances are to place a candidate at your client.
Yeah.
So it is in your best interest
100%.
to do your best job.
100%. So that kind of leads us to what we wanted to talk about today. I've got a little article.
Because we've been struggling.
Oh my gosh, y'all. Listen.
With this economy and the candidate market.
So when I got in staffing, it was 2009, just about to turn 2009.
Okay.
And we were about to head into one of the deepest depression or recessions that we'd experienced in a really long time. I think since like the early 80s or something.
I was going to say the first one, the biggest one that you've ever experienced in your career.
For sure. I entered this staffing industry in that market. It was insane. We had candidates and listen, I don't want us to go back to a situation where people are crying and they're begging for jobs. I don't want us to ever see that. But I'll tell you what I
take a little bit right now.
The difference between that and where we are now is people valued employment. They valued a job. They valued work.
They valued their career.
They valued a paycheck anyway.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't career oriented, they valued a paycheck. Let me tell you what it's not like now.
Today.
So today, for those who don't know, because there are a lot of people out there, April, who didn't lose their jobs during COVID.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Right.
There's a lot of people who
We're
didn't.
so fortunate not to have lost our jobs.
And so they may not know outside of what they see on the news.
Or what they live every day.
Or what they live every day.
Or they're not a hiring manager.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. If you're a hiring manager, we don't even need to continue. But that said, it has shifted drastically. And I would like to speak to, it's not necessarily indicative. Like, I don't think that everyone is quote unquote lazy if they were on unemployment. I think a lot of it is true economics. If you take a candidate or an individual, I should stop saying candidate. If you take a person and they got laid off during COVID, they were qualifying for traditional unemployment, and then they were getting an extra $300 a week.
Yes.
In, whatever that was called, the CARES was that the part of the CARES Act? I'm not sure, but
and it was called, what was it called? Not unemployment insurance, but it was something else, some other.
I can't remember what it was called.
I can't remember the title, but
if you calculate, and we did this in our office so that we could have some empathy with people who are choosing to stay home during this time.
Yes.
If you calculate it out, really and truly, anyone around 60K and under, economically speaking, if they have childcare, it made more sense for them to elect to stay home than go back to work. And I know we want to cast stones and we want to say, well, yeah, but you're not working.
Still.
But listen, y'all.
Yeah.
If you get to spend time that you never would have otherwise had with your children, you don't have to pay $2,000 a month in daycare. You don't have gas, tolls, dry
oil
cleaning
changes,
at the time.
tires, dry cleaning.
I don't even know what dry cleaning. I don't know.
Commute time. You get to save all of that.
Exactly. So for a lot of people, it was just sheer economics, and it just made sense to stay home. Well, couple that, and that ended June 26th. That is no longer the $300. And then, of course, unemployment is a year. And so, in May, June, and July, we were really starting to see the end of 2021. We were starting to see people, their unemployment was expiring.
Right.
And so they had to go back to work. And then those who lost that additional $300 a week, June 26th, even if they were still on unemployment, it made more sense for them to go back to work.
Of course, because you get more money that way.
So we did see a little bit of a change. We did in our office. August 1st July 1st was vastly better. And the month of July was vastly better than the last year.
Yeah.
Just because people were raising their hand and saying, okay, I'm ready to go back.
Right.
But it's still not the same. So let me give you guys some perspective. And April will speak to this too, because I know they're dealing with it. In 2008, when I would post an ad for a job,
oh my gosh,
we would get over 1,000 responses. In 2015, when I would post an ad for a job, I would get anywhere between 150 to 400 responses, resumes. It just depended on the role and, how niche it was, but you still were going to get 100 plus easy. Probably I should say 200 plus easy. In July or June, when I would post an ad, does anybody want to guess how many responses I would get?
5. Wow.
If. So now we're starting to see 10, 15, maybe 20 on a good day.
And you're like, I used to get thousands.
And, I'm
people were like fight over job. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, you had, and again, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I don't want us to go back to that. I don't think that's okay when you've got people who are accustomed to making $75,000 a year.
Trying to go back to work for $12 an hour.
I don't want to see that again. Right. I don't think that,
I don't
obviously that's not great, but there's got to be some kind of middle ground. Because right now,
can I find a halfway point or what's going on here?
And let's talk about compensation. So, and I'm not saying that compensation should not increase to accompany the rise in real estate. And clearly there's inflation. Yeah. We have to compensate people so that they can afford to live. But just for some perspective, a job that paid $12 an hour last year, let's say pre-COVID, so let's say January of 2020.
Okay.
Let's say an entry-level receptionist with 6 months experience, maybe.
Okay.
$12, $13 an hour, maybe $14 if they had that 6 months.
Sure.
Good luck.
Yeah. Nice try.
18, 19, maybe 20 right now.
$20 an hour.
AP clerks were making, and I'm talking, we're not specialists or processors, accounts payable clerks that all they were doing
Yes.
is data entry.
Yes.
That's all they were doing, data
Yes.
entry. They were making $14.15 an hour in January of 2020. They're making 20, 21, sometimes 22.
And imagine these companies too, like they're not getting the increase in profits
Right.
to necessitate
That's the
paying
challenge.
their employees 7+, what is that, like 30% more
Yeah.
per hour?
Yeah, it's a challenge. So, well, and I'm speaking on both sides here because I want organizations to understand that if you are not increasing your compensation, whether you can afford it or not, your talent is going to turn if you can attract them at all.
Your talent is not only going to turn, they will leave.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I mean by turn.
Okay.
Like they're going to leave, and you're going to. It's going to be an open door situation,
yeah,
revolving
you're
door.
gonna revolving door, yeah.
That if you can even revolve the door, because
If you can even elicit or solicit more people to come in,
right, and that's
good luck.
That's the challenge. And so we have organizations that we work with that are really stuck at a compensation range, and they just don't want to go past it. And I understand it. I get it. Like from a profitability perspective,
Yes.
From hey, everybody else on my team is making less than that. I can't bring somebody new in and pay them more. And I'm like, well, you probably
Pay
might
them
want to
30% more.
It's called compensation analysis.
Yes.
You might want to make sure that you're evaluating what you're paying people who are with you now to
And
ensure they stay.
I'm going to need you to touch a little bit more on compensation analysis too, because compensation analysis to me, they think that if you bring somebody in from college that was like an economics major and you want to call them a comp analyst, like I'm going to need you to do some serious recon. Like you need to find out what companies are paying for these positions and you need to relay that information back to your organization. Not, well, I read an article and it said that these companies were paying this. No, I don't care. And also with remote opportunities.
Well, I will say there are some resources out there. Number one, if you're partnering with a staffing firm, ask them. So many organizations will call the staffing firm and say, this is what we pay. Maybe just take 2 steps back and say, this is what we want to pay. What are you seeing?
Yeah.
So
Good hiring managers and good clients will do that.
They do.
Which I
would
appreciate.
agree with that.
I
would agree with
100%
that.
appreciate.
And they're also understanding that compensation might need to increase now. Like they're getting it. They're starting to get it.
Well, and also that it's not just compensation, right? Like money is 100% important.
Yeah.
But we need to know what are the other benefits to the job.
But I will say that is on the staffing firm to ask those questions. I get really frustrated with my staff if we have an opportunity on the board that we're working and you can't tell me why somebody would want to work there.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about them. You didn't even ask the person who gave you the opportunity and say, hey, how long have you been here? 5 years? Wow. What keeps you here?
Right.
Like we want to know those things and we want to know like why would somebody want to work for you? I need to know that stuff because that's what's going to attract somebody else, especially if you're not going to pay at market.
Yeah.
Then give me something.
Yes. Room for growth, opportunity for advancement, further your career. They pay for your school.
Right.
They pay for education, whatever.
Exactly. So now let's talk about, there's a little article.
A little one.
A little article.
With very big numbers in it.
I think this came out August 9th, and it says the U.S. or the great U.S. jobs glut, employment openings hit a record 10.1 million. Let me read that again. Employment openings hit 10.1 million and exceed the number of unemployment or number of people on unemployment by 1.4 million. Here's my question.
How are we going to do that?
Damn. There are more jobs than people. So 2 things here, y'all. 2 things that just make me want to shake my head and pound it on the table.
Just
2
like
things.
That.
1, companies. You need to pay attention to those statistics.
Yes.
You have to pay attention to what the market will give you.
You can't have more jobs than there are people, man.
Well, not just that, but you have to start looking at the soft skills and not the dang resume. Look at people who are intuitive, they're resourceful, they're smart. Do you know the reason that my career grew the way that it did was because people gave me a chance.
100%.
No one's giving anyone a chance anymore. You have to come in and check all the boxes. Come in with because nobody wants to train.
No,
nobody
you don't
wants
even
to
have to come in and check on all the boxes. Your piece of paper, this bullshit with your name on it and a bunch of bullets has to check all the boxes
That's
before
right.
they even want to bring you in.
Yeah, we've got to get away from that, y'all. We have to. We have to go back to pouring into people who want to work. I can't tell you how many interviews that we sent out last week to organizations with candidates that were smart, they're good, they want to work,
Eager,
willing, and
motivated,
did not get the job because they didn't have enough high volume accounts payable or whatever. That I'm like, what? I don't know why this is so hard, but y'all, accounts payable is not rocket science.
It's because clients do not understand how tight this market is right now.
They don't get it. They don't get it. So there's that. There's that side of it.
Sure.
And there's the candidate side. Y'all, listen.
Listen, Linda.
This is where I'm frustrated. I want to talk about the moratorium. I struggle with that word. I just read an article that was published in July, and it was speaking to that it was extended, and that is where
it's extended through October.
Yeah, and just so everybody understands what that means and what that is the state eviction program. So it's to, as long as the tenants and the landlord agrees, then there is money from the CARES Act that will help them, assist them in rent.
Yes.
I think that is largely, or has another reason why candidates are okay not working right now.
Oh, yeah, they don't have to pay rent.
There's something, y'all. There's something. How did we go from having 500 people apply to a job to 10?
Yeah.
And it's not just a shortage.
They don't feel the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we have jobs and we need people,
yes,
then stop incentivizing people to not want to work. It just drives me insane.
You trying to get political, Shapiro? What are you doing?
I'm not, y'all. I'm not. But it's twofold, right?
100%.
Organizations, when you've got a candidate, they want to work and they're smart and they will be there every day. That means something.
And I don't think that organizations understand what exactly it is that we're facing right now with the candidate-driven market.
No, they do though, because they're experiencing it. They just think we have the magic pill.
Yes, exactly.
And so they think that, oh, well, I'll just work with 7 different staffing firms,
right? And they'll find somebody.
So and you know what? You eventually do.
Sure, somebody will find them.
But dang, the time lost, the overtime you're paying to everybody else to fill that vacancy,
yes,
and the toil and what you're putting your employees through while they carry the load, just so that you can find the perfect individual. It is maddening.
It's time consuming. Mm-hmm. It's not financially smart.
Right.
And you have to think about your ROI there too. Mm-hmm. Like what's going to be the most beneficial for you as an organization to save money.
Right.
Right.
And I'm not even talking about, if you've got an accounting manager or even a controller, going back to that,
right,
that you need to hire.
No, we're talking about entry level.
Yeah. I am really talking about those jobs that pay $15 to $25 an hour. It's like open it, like be a little more open.
Yes. Well, Simon Sinek says you hire for attitude and personality and you train for skill.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk says, I hire smart people and have them tell me what to do.
Yes, exactly.
Which are like my two favorite quotes in staffing, because it's like, we've got to stop with the way the market is right now. And I don't know how long this is going to happen, but we have to stop being so picky. I have an organization that I'm working with that is hiring a couple of positions, and they have interviewed a client 12 times or a candidate 12 times.
Yes. One candidate.
12 times.
Yeah, we see that too. And like, number one, that candidate, wow, you need a badge of armor or a badge of honor. Is that what I'm like thinking of? Like,
but you also need to grow a pair.
Kudos. Well, yeah, but I mean, the fact they're obviously very interested and they obviously want the role. So yay for you. But for organizations to put an individual, especially if they're working, through something like that, you need to reevaluate your hiring process.
There was a post on LinkedIn where they talked about a candidate who made $400,000 a year base, got a job in 10 days. He did 3 Zoom interviews and he was hired.
Yeah.
If a company can do that for someone who makes $400,000 a year, you can do that for someone who makes $15 an hour.
Exactly.
It is not that hard.
It is not that hard.
You guys really need to reevaluate.
Seriously. And the last thing is we do have we have a guest coming in and we want to make sure that we honor that time.
So
but
pumped.
I will say one thing that has shifted for me personally, I do notice, and so this is kind of going back to the client side and empathizing. Like I do get it. because I also lead a team.
Yes.
Once upon a time, my patience level for people who didn't give and invest everything they had into their career was nil. Like, I had no patience for that. It's like, you have to be as hungry as I am. I need you to want this. I want you to want to be here, and I want you to want this for yourself.
Yeah.
And I can't want this more than you.
Right.
And so I wouldn't hang on to people who weren't excited and, invested, and I needed to see strong work ethic, and I needed to see an investment. Now, y'all, if they show up every day and they show up kind of on time, and they do the bare minimum, it's just shifted. Like, my mindset has shifted. Now I'm just like, well, at least you showed up. Thanks for showing up.
Thank you so much.
It's just weird. It's so weird to me.
And things have changed and priorities changed, because the difference too is like, our parents, right? Let's say our parents, our grandparents, they went to work. They worked for a company the entirety of their career. They retired from there and they went home, and they did have that work ethic, right?
They did.
Like, they invested their life. Their career was their most important thing. But if you think about it this way too, and this is where you kind of get to empathize with the candidates, companies will fire you for
the
nothing,
smallest thing.
For nothing. And they're not invested in you because, again, there are so many other people out there who are willing to work, but there are so many other people, and they just think there's a better option out there, or I could find another person, another body to fill this thing, similar to Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon is one of the biggest employers for citizens of the United States.
Yeah.
And the fact that they fire them based on an algorithm off of a computer.
So crazy. Well,
that's why people are like, I'm not going to invest everything that I have into my career, because what's the point?
Well,
they'll replace you tomorrow.
And they're not investing in me. I have a client, and this will be the last thing, I swear, that fired a guy on the first day because he put headphones in. Now, it's a job that they said, hey, this is cool. We let our employees wear
Listen
headphones,
to music, whatever.
Because it's a like a data entry type thing. He did put his headphones in, and he didn't take notes on the first day. So instead of coaching him and saying, "Hey, you need to write things down," or you don't get to stay, because we don't.
So crazy.
They
had the
fired
same
him
thing
on
happen.
the first day, and I'm like, Can we not give him
Can we have a
3
session?
days to give him an opportunity?
Can we have a 5-minute chat?
When it's so hard to find people, and then you fire them on the first day. Listen, I wasn't there. Maybe there's more to the story than I know.
Right.
But that, from what I could see and what I was told, insanity.
I know.
Especially when I had a conversation with their plight was, we cannot find people. Well, then I found you a people, and you let them go in one day.
Fired the people.
In one day. So it's just crazy.
It is crazy.
All right. Well, enough complaining
About work.
I don't call that complaining, actually. I'm going to call that education.
We're educating
Education.
our clients and candidates.
Yes.
So we'll wrap with this. I'll wrap with the candidate side. You can wrap with the client side. I will say on behalf of candidates, this is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
Please know that this is not something that's going to continue for let's even say for the rest of Biden's presidency. Okay. It's not going to last forever. You will have to get a job at some point. Be as professional as possible. If you have questions, ask. If you're working with a firm or you're working with an agency, talk to your recruiter. Just show up. Be the best person that you can be, and be that person when you're at work.
Well, and to piggyback on that, because that was perfectly said, is y'all, those gaps of employment are going to have to be explained, and you're going to have to explain them in a very low unemployment market. So you're going to have to tell this new hiring manager who has been struggling to find people why you chose to stay unemployed for a year and a half or more. Mm-hmm. So just be thinking about that. On the client side, listen, I'm here for you. Like you call me.
We're both here for you.
Well, my clients know I'm going to give you the skinny. Like, I'm very real.
Same.
And I let you know exactly what the market is paying, exactly how tight it is. I'm very honest about that. And if you hold firm to what you're looking for, I'm either going to tell you, I am so sorry, I can't commit to that, Or I'm going to say, I got you. But please be open.
Yeah.
Please give people a chance, especially those people who are eager and they want to work. They may not check all those boxes, but if they're making under $25 an hour, it's not rocket science.
Right.
Frankly, if it's above $25 an hour, it's still not rocket science unless it's rocket science. But I'm just going to say, give people a chance.
Yeah.
Invest, pour into them.
Yes.
Give them the opportunity to show you what they're capable of.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do what Shapiro did to me and do a backdoor reference.
Ha 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 ha. That's true though. I did. I picked up the phone and called somebody that I knew her.
Yeah.
I didn't go off her references that she gave me.
Right.
And I got a phenomenal reference. And so,
and you took a chance on me. You took a chance on a single mom.
I did.
Who was just fired, laid off, and then look where this has grown.
Do you know that
from taking a chance on that?
There is a list of employees in my career that I've hired after they were fired. And if somebody is fired for their mouth or for something like their feistiness or whatever, I am all over that. I'm like, come work for me.
Bring it on.
Because I can manage that. If you're good at what you do, I can't tell you how many successful people have worked for me that had been fired. I love it.
Me too. I'm here for it.
I love it. Okay, so go ahead and give us all of our, plug us, tell people where to find us.
So we are on every podcast platform. Major ones are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. Check us out on our website, www.biggirlpantspod.com.
Yes.
And we are on Instagram at Big Girl Pants Pod, Facebook, Big Girl Pants Podcast, and LinkedIn, Big Girl Pants Podcast.
Yes, and subscribe to the...
Yes, like and subscribe.
Do you like or do you just subscribe?
Well, it just depends on where you're
Got
at.
you.
Yeah.
Well, definitely subscribe. Give us 5 stars, even if you don't mean it.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yes.
You can just send
5
us an
stars
email.
only. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Plug us. Okay.
Wait, what can I do? Oh, yeah. I know. Okay.
So will you plug us and blah, blah, blah.
Tell me when.